Hello, everyone. It is our final week of Crucial Conversations and Serving Kids for Wednesdays. I am super looking forward to this summer, mostly because it'll be a time to sit back and look at everything that we've done this last year and what we can move to. I have had such a joy working with you guys as a team that I'm really going to miss working with you guys over the summer. I'm also going to miss talking about crucial conversations with you guys. So, one last time, here we go. We are talking about crucial conversations where your opinions vary and your emotions are high, and you need to make a good decision. Now, we've talked kind of all the way through this, and last week we started the first of two parts on moving to action. Because if you get through the conversation, you listen to their story, you're able to share yours, sorry, and you're able to navigate this conversation, understand what's going on. You figure out the story that you're each telling each other. You get to a spot where you both agree on something, and you're able to work together. But then you're like, good, great. Nothing ends up happening. Last week we talked about how to decide, which is kind of confusing when you say it that way. Basically talking about what it means to decide and who is going to do it. Are you going to have it be a single person that is up in charge of everything? Are you going to do it by a vote? And just as important as understanding how you as a group are going to decide, you need to also understand whose job and how it is going to be acted upon, how the decision is going to be acted upon. It's great if you come together, you make that decision, you vote, or someone puts it out, but a lot of times things can still fall away because people don't understand what they're being asked to do. And the thing is that there are a few questions that really shows how these decisions move to being beautiful, awesome actions. And so we'll start, and there's four little questions that'll go here. So first is who. Who as a question. Who? Specifically, when you're thinking about the decision, you've got to the end of the conversation. Who is going to do the thing? Who is going to set up this paper? Who is going to apply for or talk to the teacher for your kid? Who is going to be the one to plan the vacation? You've talked through everything with your vacation. Who is the one who's actually planning it? Because the thing is if it's everyone's business, especially the more people there are, if it's everyone's business, it's nobody's business, and it's never going to get done. An assignment gets done. An idea never does. And the idea of we are going to do this, it's really code for not me. Like, we'll do this. Not me, though. Like, we, not me. And the thing is you really want that ownership in it. So when you're figuring this out, assign what's going, even if it's bits and pieces, like with the group project when you were back at school. This person did this thing, and this person did this thing, and together they were able to make the presentation together. But make that assignment. And after you figure out who is doing what, the fuzzier the expectation, the likelier there's going to be disappointment because they don't know what's expected of them. Be concrete. We plan what you, and tell them not only what you do want, because it's really nice to know what people want, okay? But just as important is telling people what you don't want. Because a lot of times people's expectations aren't met because they don't understand what you don't want. And the same thing goes for other people when they're telling you. They're sharing stuff with you, whether it's at work or at home or at church. They're sharing stuff with you. You get to doing it. You show them. You're all excited. Hey, look, I did it. We completed this assignment. And you're like, what? That's not at all what we were looking to do. Because you didn't tell them what not to do either. So remember to tell them what it looks like that you want to be done. And if there's things that could go wrong, just tell them, I don't want it like this. I don't want it like that. When I was growing up, this is a quick little thing here. I was very quickly turned into the unofficial clothes folder because I was the only one who would listen to my mom on how to fold clothes. To the point where when I graduated high school and I went off to college, my mom said that no matter what happened, I'd always be able to get a job because I'd be able to find a job somewhere at a clothing department folding clothes for them, which is just crazy. But the thing is there was this expectation that was met that she tried to tell my brothers and my sister, tried to tell them how, okay, we fold clothes like this, like don't do it like this, don't do it like this. And I paid attention to how she didn't want them done. And I made sure that not only did I do it the correct way, but I also avoided the things that she's like, this looks correct, but it isn't technically correct. And I actually appreciate the fact that I know how to fold clothes. And there's a lot of things that when you pay attention and you realize that people are trying to tell you how not to do something, it's usually because they already messed it up once in the first place. And they understand, like, let's not do it that way. And because I already know it doesn't work. Like, you might not realize it yet, but I already know it doesn't work. So who does what by when? Make a specific date. If you don't have a deadline, it's just going to get pushed to the bottom of the pile. If you don't have a specific time that you need an answer by, that you need the document by, that you need to make a decision with your husband or wife by, it's never going to be made. It's just going to keep being pushed down to the bottom of the pile of, oh, I'll get to that. I've got all these other busy things. Oh, I'll get to that when I get to that. And assignments without deadlines produce more guilt than actions. This is a line from the book itself. They produce more guilt than actions, because what's going to happen is, like I said, they're going to push it to the bottom of the pile, and at that very moment that they realize they're pushing it back again, they're focusing on other stuff, they're going to feel guilt for a second of, I should really get to that, we talked about this, but then they're not going to do anything about it. So all you're going to do is make them feel guilty about not getting through with what you talked about. And finally, so those questions kind of go together, and you can actually just use them all at once. Who does what by when? And the other big question is, how will you follow up? You need to make sure you're having conversation with people as they're going through. And not only like make sure you have those, but also let them talk with them about how you're going to get that information out to them. Are you going to be checking up with them on email? Are you going to be having a meeting with your kid or your husband every week? Taking that time to say, okay, we're just going to sit off to the side and just talk about this every time, every week, until it's done, until we're done with this, until we have our vacation planned. We need to take this time every week and just talk about how it's going, how we've planned everything out so far, what we still need to do, because a lot of those problems I mentioned earlier of it not getting finished, it not getting started, getting pushed to the bottom of the pile, it not being done correctly, those can be fixed way earlier if you're checking up on things. And also set milestones so people feel like they've accomplished something. If there's a specific job that you're trying to train your kid how to do a chore, and that's what it is, it's training, you're showing them, it's the first time that they've ever done that. I remember the first time my dad showed me to mow, which was way too old because like my dad did not trust me with a mower. I mean, I'm not good with blades, but he should have trusted me with a mower a little sooner. But the first time he showed me how to run the mower and everything, it took a few times for me to really get the hang of it and understand how he wanted it mowed. And that's not even including the lines and how on the ground he wanted it mowed with where the lines were for the mower. And he made sure to take that time to say, okay, I'm only expecting you to get this far with this time and understand this much this time, and worked up to that. So those things go even as small as just a kid with a chore and you're teaching them how to do something. I said earlier that my mom told me how to fold. I didn't immediately know how to fold all clothes all the time. And there was a lot of times that I would actually go to my mom with a piece of laundry, especially one of my mother's shirts or one of my sister's shirts. Women's shirts are weird in how they're made sometimes. And I just looked at my mom, like, I have no clue how to fold this, or do you hang this, or I have no clue. And she'd come up and she'd show me. But she didn't expect me to know how to do all of this right at the same time. She set milestones even for chores, knowing that it was going to take a learning curve. If you want people to be accountable, give them an opportunity to account to tell you how they're doing, how they're getting through this. So that time that you're meeting with them to make sure everything's going well, it's not just for you to know that everything is actually getting done and everything is going well. It's also for them because then they feel that again, that sense of accomplishment of I've done something here, even though we're not completely finished with whatever we're talking about or whatever we're working on. I'm not finished, but I have made progress and we're moving in the right direction. And I'm heard. They let me tell them how everything's going. And this applies for all conversations. This applies for arguments where you're working out how you're dealing with how you discipline your kids at home. This goes for how you work with people at church, at work. This goes for every conversation. Whenever there's anything that needs to be done, if you can understand the questions of who is doing what by when, and how are we keeping each other accountable, everything will go well in the action. I look forward to seeing you guys through the rest of the summer, and I can't tell you guys enough how awesome you guys were this last year. See you guys later.